Hi, I'm Wayne LaPierre, head of the National Rifle Association, and I'm here in New Orleans, and I'm going to show you for the next few minutes something that will shock you, and I guarantee you you've never seen it before, because it's something the big media companies in this country didn't show you, because they said it would never happen. They said the government would never come into your home and confiscate your firearms. They said the government would always be there to protect you. You stay tuned and watch, because right now I'm going to show you the truth.
Police, open the door! They had AR-15s or M16s. They were pointing at us.
They told us, put your hands up in the air. Let us see your hands.
They're drawing down on me, and they let the looters run rampant for over a week? Are you kidding me?
I really thought they were going to kill me. I really did.
They didn't care what your rights were. They were going to deny them.
You're letting the thugs get away with everything, and you're coming to honest, good citizens and taking away their protection, and it is wrong, wrong, wrong.
But still, the order had been given for police and National Guard to go house to house, often with guns drawn, to evacuate residents and confiscate their firearms.
No one will be able to be armed. We will take all weapons.
It was a human drama with emotions and tensions running high. Patty Connie is still trying to recover physically and emotionally
They really did a number on me.
from the day police forced her from her home.
It was traumatic. All of a sudden, they were banging on the front door, the side door, and the back door. They said, let us in.
Patty tried to explain. She was on dry land, she had plenty of food and water, and didn't want to abandon her dogs. But it didn't matter.
If you see 6 or 8 police that look like linebackers pushing you in a corner, you're in shock. I'm saying, look at all my food. I got plenty of food. They kept pushing me back, and ended up like this.
Then, Patty showed them a small revolver she was carefully holding in the palm of her hand. A camera crew was there to capture what unfolded next.
I said, it's not even loaded. And I dropped it on the floor.
You got a gun, lock.
Well, they punched me in the face.
Lock now.
Look at my black and blue marks. Look at what they did to me. They dragged me out of here. How could this happen in America?
You're treated like a criminal, and you did nothing wrong. So your rights are really out the window.
Richard Styron was in his friend's bass boat trying to salvage his gun collection before the looters stole it, when they got stopped by a St. Tammany Parish Sheriff's boat.
And we've had policemen tell us that that's what they wanted us to do, but not the sheriff in St. Tammany. They just wanted to confiscate them from us.
We felt like criminals at the time when they come up to us with M16s or AR-15s, whatever it was, but there were 4 of them with rifles and holding on us.
He said, be thankful we're taking your guns here. Why should I be thankful? Well, if they catch you with them on land, they're going to take you straight to jail.
I felt like it was un-American and then we had been violated.
They took something from you. They stole something from you. That's the only way to put it. They took something that they didn't have a right to take.
You know, the more I think about it, the madder I get.
Jim Richard's home was badly damaged by Katrina, but when he tried to save his gun collection,
Had most of them stored up top.
it too was confiscated by law enforcement.
You know, they had no jurisdiction here. You know, I'm a law-abiding citizen, protecting myself, you know, and property. Yeah, they had no right to take them.
But the authorities didn't stop there.
What I feel is that we're losing control of who we are as a nation.
Robert Zoss was forced to evacuate when a tree destroyed both of his family's homes.
Loaded with dogs, kids, people.
Then, as they were exiting through downtown, the unexpected happened.
These cops came out of nowhere, said stop, and asked, do we have weapons in the car? And I Told him, yeah, I do. He said, get out the vehicle. Had us all sit cross-legged in front while they searched the vehicle.
But Robert couldn't believe what he watched police do next to his rifle and his friend's pearl-handled revolver.
I saw them smash her gun given to her by grandmother, grandfather, just against the curb. The other things that they busted up, the .22 rifle they busted up, these were police officers that went too far.
A breakdown in law and order.
There was mayhem. New Orleans police did not have control of the city anymore.
The safety net had snapped. Phone lines and cell towers were down.
911 wasn't answering the phone. Our police department wasn't answering the phone. You couldn't find a policeman.
They had no police or military presence in this neighborhood whatsoever.
It was just you and that constant feeling of hopelessness, of living in fear, knowing there was no easy way out.
There was so much gunfire around here. At nighttime, you could smell it in your nose and taste it in your taste buds.
The post-Katrina world turned right and wrong on its head. Looters ruled this city for over a week post-storm without fear of law enforcement.
Your rights were just done away with.
Buell Teal, a commercial crabber, was asked by emergency personnel to help find a safe water route for a barge carrying supplies to get into New Orleans. Then suddenly, a sheriff's boat with 5 officers on board, armed with automatic rifles, sped towards them.
They didn't just have them pointed from their hip, they had them up at their shoulder and asked if we had any weapons on board. I told them yes, we had 2 weapons. They said, get at the back of the boat with your hands in the air, we're coming aboard to search.
Search and then seize Buell's firearms. And when Buell asked for a receipt, the officers flatly refused.
You got a Second Amendment law on the books, and it's just total disregard for it. They violated my rights as far as search and seizure. They had no search warrant.
Most of the people we talk with say they are living proof of what will happen if we let it. Our guns confiscated, our individual freedoms taken away. That's not Louisiana. That's not America.
Absolutely not. Nazi Germany, Cuba, People's Republic of China, North Korea, yes, but not America. Not America.
Heed the warning of what this was. This is like Australia. All of a sudden, boom, they got our rights.
This isn't freedom. If it can happen to me, it can happen to anybody.
It means a lot to me now because I know what it feels like to have them taken away.
If it wasn't for the NRA, we probably wouldn't be too long down the line that we wouldn't be able to own guns.
Life will never be the same for us again.
The city was jet black. Everybody was trying to protect themselves.
Just thinking of my life and my son's life.
I was a victim. My family was a victim. And it's not going to happen again.
Vinnie Purvell and his neighbors at Algiers Point had survived Hurricane Katrina, but they weren't sure they would survive the ruthless attacks by armed looters.
There was one point we became fearful for our lives.
It was the day after the storm, and Vinnie was out checking on some neighbors' homes when 2 thugs clubbed him with a sledgehammer and carjacked his van.
And then one of them stood over me with the maul and said, don't move, we want your truck. So the other one dug through my pocket, got the keys, got in the van and took off. There was a police car just a few feet behind them, but he wouldn't pursue it.
Vinnie knew then they were in trouble. No police protection meant that the looters would keep coming back. And they did.
3 young men came through. There was gunfire, about 20 rounds fired right in front of me. My mom jumped on the floor.
Gunfire that hit too close to home. So Vinnie pulled out an old shotgun that had been given to them.
In fact, when we came home with it, we didn't like guns, so we put it in the back of a closet and just left it there and actually forgot about it.
But not anymore. They used that shotgun and some firearms borrowed from neighbors who had left town to set up Fort Pelican, a watchtower on Vinnie's balcony, all to keep the thugs out.
We sat here on this balcony at nighttime, slept on this balcony in the chairs, and you hear gunfire all over.
When we didn't see a policeman, and we couldn't call 911 up.
And until this occurrence here, I didn't realize what the necessity was for it. But now I do. Now I'm going to get me a gun. I'm going to learn how to use that gun. I'm going to protect my home.
Go get one. If you're an honest citizen, get one if you're in fear.
Marie Galatis, a Baptist minister, faced the same story in her neighborhood. The same threats by thugs, the same lack of police, but she never once felt afraid.
I had my Bible and I had my gun, and I knew I was safe.
Marie knows she was lucky. She was never forced to leave home and didn't have her firearm confiscated.
It's going against my constitutional rights as a citizen.
But Marie remembers how upset she got when the police department threatened to take her firearm.
Yeah, no one will be able to be armed. We will take all weapons.
So what you come and get my gun for? I'm a good citizen. Why don't you go get some of these people that's murdering people and robbing the stores and breaking in homes and everything? What are you worrying about me for? I'm a widow. I'm 65. I'm here by myself.
People are scared to death, and it's because of crime. Women come in who cried at the door saying, we need to buy some guns. We need to protect ourselves.
I want people to remember.
Remember Buell Teal? The firearms he had for protection were confiscated by sheriff deputies. And although he tried to get them back, all he got was the runaround.
It made me angry when they told me to go get a lawyer if I wanted my guns back.
Angry enough to pick up the phone and call the one group he knew could help him, the National Rifle Association.
This was a Tuesday around noon when I called NRA. Wednesday at noon, an investigator was knocking on my door, had just flown in from New York.
2 days later, the NRA filed a federal lawsuit, and a judge quickly ruled in its favor, ordering law enforcement to stop confiscating firearms from law-abiding citizens and to return those they had already taken.
And this was the 2 rifles that they confiscated.
It was a major victory for firearm freedom and for people like Buell Teal. He finally got his firearms back.
Okay, this is my grandson's gun. He was overjoyed when the NRA stepped in and got his gun back for him.
No, absolutely. I don't think I would have got him back, if it wasn't for the NRA. I was tickled to death.
But gun owners in New Orleans weren't that lucky. Despite an order from a federal court judge, they still couldn't get their guns back.
The city attorney has argued that there is no Second Amendment right and that cities and localities can confiscate guns at will and you don't have any Second Amendment rights at all.
The city was in denial, first denying that they took the guns, even though the police gave the order on TV to do just that.
No one will be able to be armed. We will take all weapons.
And now denying that they even had them. But that all changed when the NRA went back to federal court a second time, demanding the mayor be held in contempt.
For the first time, they've admitted not only that they have guns, but we saw them ourselves stored in a double-wide trailer.
There were so many guns, and they were stacked in these big piles.
As many as 1,100 firearms are being stored in this police trailer. And finally, people like I.H. Spurlock had hopes of getting their guns back.
But this is what I'm missing, these 6 here.
Revolver. That's my personal gun.
My 12-gauge shotgun that my father bought me when I was 15-year-old.
World War I German Mauser rifle.
Firearms taken from most people's homes after they had already evacuated. But Spurlock was optimistic because although the police took his guns, they left behind the empty cases, and he had the serial numbers written down inside.
See how I got them number S1213. And that's the only thing gonna help me.
But still, that wasn't enough. Spurlock walked away empty-handed.
You getting no cooperation with them in there about your gun. I showed them these numbers that I have. They refused to accept them. Let the people go in there and look. Well, we can't do that. What the hell are we doing down here then?
And Spurlock wasn't alone in his frustration.
Oh, I have the receipt and everything here where I bought the gun. They say they don't have it. I have the serial number and everything.
They left a note, obviously, when they were confiscating the guns that said, shotgun in custody of New Jersey State Police Department. I called them and they said they left the guns with NOPD. They can't find the gun.
Doesn't seem fair to me. I mean, I'm a deer hunter. I'm not no criminal.
Basically, my guns were stolen from me, and I really want them back.
Faces of victims, victims of a storm, and victims of a system that wouldn't protect them or allow them to protect themselves.
This should make y'all just as angry as it does me.
That's why nearly 200 residents drove from miles around to this town hall meeting in New Orleans to make sure as Americans we never forget And the NRA was there to listen.
The government you trusted to be honest lied to you. That's why we're here. We're here to hear your stories.
And we're going to take them and we're going to relay them all over this country so that people can feel and taste what happened down here to make sure it never happens again.
The bottom line is this. Once they did it, they set a precedent. And what we've got to be sure is that the precedent stops here.
People told stories of being left defenseless while the thugs ran rampant.
They took my guns. I'm unable to find them. In all honesty, yeah, I'm mad. I tell them I'm not going to take it anymore, but this is never going to happen to me again.
Stories of survival.
I think I counted a total 19 bullet holes in my house. I had more windows broken from bullets than I had from the hurricane.
And one woman's frightening memories of being attacked in a van while her family packed up their belongings.
All of a sudden, it was like out of nowhere, there are these two big guys come up in front of the van and start beating on the hood and jeering at me. I get nervous just thinking about it. Each one comes to the side window, one on this side and one on this side, and they start beating on the windows. And so all I did was just pick up my gun and glare at them. You never saw two big guys run so fast. They were gone.
And there were also confessions from victims who became new believers.
I never owned a gun, didn't have a desire to own a gun. But we got our community involved. We have 30 of us that have signed up for a gun class.
It was a religious experience for me, and I did witness the conversion of a couple of folks who had hated guns before.
The Battle of New Orleans, reclaiming people's rights, restoring people's freedom, and a reminder to Americans that we must never forget.
It doesn't sound like America at all. It doesn't, not the America I came up in.
If you want to know what happens to your rights, remember New Orleans, because my rights were trampled on.
Every time you purchase a firearm, every time you go to a range, every time you go to training, you must remember the NRA. You must remember your rights. New Orleans is going to be the battle cry, I hope, for all of the Second Amendment.
Freedom's at stake, our rights are at stake. People don't believe it, it's happening here.
You better watch your gun rights and fixing to go away.
Join the NRA, stand up for your rights. If people should remember anything from this, it's like Charlton Heston said, from my cold, dead hands.
You know, I've had a lot of people in this town tell me that when you go through something like they've gone through, it changes your life, but it also changes the way you think. I've had people tell me they never owned a firearm and are going to now. I've had people tell me they only owned a firearm for hunting, target shooting, or collecting, and never really thought much about the Second Amendment. Yet now they'll spend the rest of their life fighting any politician that wants to take away their guns. The best way you can do that is pick up the phone right now, call the National Rifle Association, and join. Together, I promise you we'll protect this freedom and stop the government from ever again coming into law-abiding folks' homes and taking away their source of protection when they need it most.